26th after a day and a half of rain, and we're looking out at the lower area, and you can see the majority of water again is going down through the artificial bed that I put in there for decoration, and I've got it blocked off over there so it doesn't do any more erosion. But you can see the amount of erosion that has already happened and the amount of water that still goes in there. And if we go down further below, get a little closer there, you can see how the water is spreading out down below. There's a heavy volume of water that's going through there every time that it rains. And here are some pictures of the flooding in the lowlands area during a rainstorm, and also at the same time the snow has been melting. And you can see all over the back that there is a lot of water, and actually the water that is going down the left is going down the dry bed that I had made for just decorative purposes, and if it wasn't for that dry bed, that water would be going through the environmentally sensitive area, the wetlands, over on the right. Here you can get a look at the exposed roots for the big trees, and this was all totally covered when we first got here with soil, and each year now it gets worse. We see more and more of what was under the soil when it was here. And here you can get a look at another big tree that is in the process of rotting away, and there were several big trees like this in here that we've already lost. And here's even a better view of all the exposed roots for these big trees. As I mentioned before, that was all covered when we first got here. And this is looking uphill from the lowlands, and you can see why the water picks up speed coming down. It's quite a fall from up where the two pipes come in, one for the upland water and the other for the water drainage from Odeon Point Road, come downhill and pick up speed as it comes. Here we are on April 26th after a day and a half of rain, and we're looking out at the lower area, and you can see the majority of water again is going down through the artificial bed that I put in there for decoration, and I've got it blocked off over there so it doesn't do any more erosion. But you can see the amount of erosion that has already happened and the amount of water that still goes in there. And if we go down further below, get a little closer there, you can see how the water is spreading out down below. There's a heavy volume of water that's going through there every time that it rains. And this maybe even give you a better feeling for the change in elevation that goes from up by the house, which is up towards obviously Odeon Point Road, and down here, and I'm standing just at the edge of the lower edge of the lowlands before it goes into Tucker's Cove. And here we can see the results after we have some really not very heavy rain. I guess you call it light rain. And you can see the dry bed that I put into the left taking all the water, and that's because I dammed off it over there to keep the water out from doing more erosion in the wetlands. But you can see the erosion that's happening in the wetlands, even with the water going down through the diversionary channel, through the dry bed, and you can see the puddles and the water that's still getting in there and the damage that's being done. And here you can get a good look at the tree roots from these large trees that are now above ground, the stones that are now above ground. And when we first moved here, all of that was heavily hidden under both dirt, topsoil or dirt, and vegetation and bushes. And going over to the left over here, you can see where we had to cut down two trees that died because they couldn't survive the water. And here we are in the lower wetlands of the Gardner property, and we're looking at the water running downhill into the lowlands. And going to the left over here, you can see the vast majority of the water is going down the artificial dry bed that I put in a number of years ago just for decoration. But look here, you can see I diverted the water from going into the lowlands. I did this just this past year because of the terrible erosion that's going on down there. So you can kind of see it, and this isn't even heavy rain. This was kind of a light rain, and this is the day after the light rain, and you can see the water just dripping down there. And you can imagine if this water on the left was all going down into that wetlands, you can see why the damage has been done so far. And here's a good shot. You can see how the volume of water cannot be contained in the dry bed or in the wetlands. It just keeps on spreading out, and there's more and more erosion starting to happen on the left-hand side with this volume of water that goes through. And here you can see how the stones that were under the dirt or topsoil when we first moved here are now all exposed, and this is true throughout the whole lower wetlands.